Hi there. What should I call you? Do you prefer a nickname?
You can call me Elizabeth or Beth. I'm not a fan of Lizzie or Liz.
Nice to meet you, Elizabeth. Welcome and thanks for agreeing to talk to us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Can I get you something to drink? Water, soda, coffee, wine, whiskey?
A cup of tea will do, thank you.
You got it. Tell me a little about yourself.
It's a little strange to be interviewed when I usually do the interviewing. I'm a reporter for the Maranoa Herald, a rural Australian newspaper in Bandara, out in Western Queensland, Australia.
Oh, I best be on my toes then.
Nah, you'll be right, mate. It's just us girls chatting here, right? I'm originally from Brisbane, so I was a city girl for a long time until I moved to Bandara for work. I have to admit, the country wasn't my cup of tea, and I felt like a fish out of water at the start. But I managed to settle and make friends. My colleagues at work, except for Flo Payne, who's a bloody pain in the ass, are a fun bunch. Savannah Bishop is a ripper of a boss and a good friend. I'm pretty straightforward, and if I don't like someone, I don't hide it. Most people are pretty good, though. I was engaged to my university sweetheart, Paul Rickey, but things changed and we don't have much in common these days.
Where on earth is Bandera?
It's out in the sticks past Roma and Mitchell, and on the way to Cunnamulla along the Warrego Highway in Western Queensland in Australia. It's cattle country, very different to the coastal city.
So a city girl who's found a home in the country.
You got it.
Do you have any jobs or hobbies?
I'm a senior journalist. I fought my way in an industry that's male-dominated and still has issues with sexism. I won't go into details, but I've got plenty of stories to yarn about, maybe another time. I do enjoy photography and hope to do more of it one day, but I don't plan to be a journalist forever. My goal for now is to become an editor of the Maranoa Herald.
Editor? That sounds fantastic. So what are some of your likes and dislikes?
I'll start with dislikes first. I'm no fan of snakes or fairy spiders. I'll be honest, there's a bunch of small-minded idiots I've come across in my career. People who've made it difficult for others, but I tend to ignore them and shut them out. If they bother me, I'll bite back. As for what I like, there's a handsome fellow by the name of Keith Starling who took me to his farm. He lives on a place called Starling Homestead. It was an oasis or a piece of paradise out in the middle of nowhere. The trees, the birds, stables, the rose bushes in front of his home, everything was just so picturesque. Now I love roses, and the ones he has are stunning. I also spend time with Winnie, his Australian Kelpie, and I admit I'm a dog lover. I'm not so fond of cats, though. I don't get much interaction from them.
We won't get into the cat versus dog debate. Tell me, what is your greatest fear?
Well, I was afraid of falling in love with Keith Starling. What if he didn't feel the same way about me? I could see myself spending the rest of my life with him when we first met, but he was pretty hard to read at the start. Even then, he was a friendly guy who cared for his community, so I was kind of worried that he saw me as nothing more than a friend. I didn't want to make a fool of myself, but luckily I reminded myself that life's short. And so I showed him a little love, maybe sealed my feelings with a kiss.
So you are in love?
Yeah, I guess you can say I'm madly and deeply in love with Keith Starling. And it was pretty soon after I met him. I just needed to show him.
Was Keith the reason you broke off the engagement with Paul?
Well, no. Paul and I had issues before I met Keith. And Keith helped me see my relationship with my ex-fiancé for what it was.
Let's leave the men behind. Do you have any siblings?
I don't know. None that I know of, but I might. I never met my father.
Oh my, that must be difficult. Have you ever tried to find him? Sorry, if that's too personal, you don't have to answer it.
Nah, it's all good, mate. Mum fell preggers when she was at uni. My biological father chucked off long before I was born.
That's your father's loss, in my opinion. Do you have an arch nemesis?
Yeah. There's a police officer in town, and his name is Darren Dodson. So, when it comes to Darren, he uses his power to harass people. He's the worst thing that the town could ever have. He's a sex offender, and I hope that karma will bite him back hard.
I hope so too. If you could change one thing about your life, what would it be?
If I could change one thing about my life, that's a good question. I would have probably come out to Bandara as soon as I had known that there were hot men like Keith Starling. The first time I saw him was when he was coaching his football team, the Bandara Bulldogs, and he wore these cute shorts that showed off his bum. Whoops, that was an honest confession. All right, am I blushing yet?
Just a little, Pink, and it works for you. Are you happy we know your story?
I'm happy to share my story, and I hope it will encourage readers to dare to be different, to dare to be bold, and to face their fears. In my story, I tell readers about my experience of being sexually assaulted and intimidated by Darren, who used his power to hurt rather than help people. I stood up and I did something about it. I told my friends, my boss, my partner, until something was done to make sure that his police badge was stripped.
Bravo! I can't imagine how hard it was for you. I think you were very brave. Is there anything you want to say to your fans?
Yeah. I would like readers to keep using their voices and to trust their gut instinct, to trust the decisions that they make.
Great advice. Can we look forward to reading more of your story?
All right, here's a spoiler alert, so I'll hit the fast forward button. The author who spent time with Keith and me for our novella loves writing stories with happy endings. At least that's what she told us. She's now writing about our daughters, Rose, Jasmine, and Daisy, the Starling Sisters series. Now, Rose's story with Liam is a slow burn one. She's a lot more like her father than myself. Keith was very protective with her and perhaps sheltered her a bit. I'm in my daughter's story, especially as she struggles with Liam. Now, her boyfriend Liam, I've known him since he was a little boy, and he could be a bloody... Oh, I won't say that word. To say that he could be annoying when he was a little child, and there are certain things that he's done as an adult that haven't impressed me. He mucked up with Rose, but he's relentless. He won't give up on her easily, and I believe he'll wait for her to forgive him for what he did, even if it takes years. As for Jasmine, my middle child's story is about the plight of single mothers. Now, I was raised by a single mother, and my daughter is a single mum. I would give anything to help remove the prejudices that single mothers face today, still. Keith has always supported Jasmine, and she's a tough cookie like her parents. Daisy, our youngest child, is the quieter one. I would like to see her come out of her shell more, but she will in due time. She can be spontaneous, and her taste in the blokes is quite interesting. She loves rodeo riders, and we have a national circuit of rodeo events in Australia, including in Queensland. So we'll see what happens in her story.
Your daughters sound like amazing women. I hope I get the chance to meet them someday. Unfortunately, our time is up. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I, for one, am glad I got the chance to know you.
And thank you so much for the interview. We could chat forever, so let's meet up again another time. You're more than welcome to visit me at Starling Homestead. I'll make sure you'll enjoy our scones and cakes, and we'll have a cup of tea or coffee.
My own Outback experience? Count me in. Wait, does it come with a single stunner like Keith?
A single stunner like Keith? Oh, there's plenty of Outback blokes there. There's more than one single stunner out there.
If you'd like to read Elizabeth's story and find out more about her family, check out Cool Pics on Instagram or join Estelle's Facebook group.